Are we going to Homan? He's saying something we need to see?
We have a lot of work to do across this country to remove public safety risk who shouldn't even be in this country, and to deliver on President Trump's promise for strong border security and mass deportation. Law enforcement officers drawing down from this surge operation will either return to their duty stations or be assigned elsewhere to achieve just that. We will continue to enforce Title VIII immigration law throughout this nation. Prioritizing national security threats and public safety risks makes sense. But I'll continue to say over and over again, if you are here in the country legally, you're not exempt from our immigration laws. If we encounter you, we'll take appropriate enforcement action. For those that say we are backing down from immigration enforcement or the promise of mass deportations, you are simply wrong. Look at the data. Record number of arrests and deportations under President Trump's first year. And we'll continue that effort. Prioritizing public safety threats and national security threats doesn't mean we forget about everybody else. We will take action on everybody else. That's just a stone cold fact. A small footprint of personnel will remain for a period of time to close out and transition full command and control back to the field office, as well as to ensure agitator activity continues to decline, and that state and local law enforcement continue to respond to ensure officer and community safety. Additionally, federal government personnel assigned to conduct criminal investigation into the agitators, as well as the personnel assigned here for the fraud investigations, will remain in place until their work is done. I will also remain on the ground for a little longer to oversee the drawdown of this operation and ensure its success. In closing, I want to thank the leadership and senior management that I've worked with.
Okay. So the operation will conclude, he says.
Determine deficiencies and challenges.
The operation will conclude. Yeah. So that I don't think he, as far as I can see from watching out of the corner of my eye, he wasn't specific on exactly what will remain. They'll obviously continue immigration enforcement in Minnesota, but it sounds like several hundreds are going to be withdrawn, and he said he himself is leaving. So, Larry, how does this impact the debate?
Yeah, he said. I think he said that they'd go back to the field offices that were already pre-existing for DHS, and so the surge would be over. By the way, 3,000 arrests during the surge in the last 4 weeks. That ain't nothing. I think it takes the heat off. It's what Tom Homan has done since the moment he sat on the ground there, was to take the heat off. And it's interesting, Kevin. I mean, with the threat over the shutdown and everything the Democrats are doing right now, in the conversation we just had, it all started in the heat of it all, after Alex Preddy and after the overheated sort of attention to it. Doesn't it seem like we're in a different place now, a couple of weeks later after Homan and now with this announcement? Isn't this also kind of a signal from the Trump administration that, okay, we hear you, we're going to move, we're just not going to be threatened with this shutdown and acquiesce to all of your demands?
Yeah, Larry, it's a really good point. And I think we had a conversation about this a few weeks ago where I said, barring another really optic thing on the ground, with officer involved shooting, the protesters getting in the cops' faces again and stuff like that, this goes on the back burner. Then a lot of the attention on this, which was fueling these Democratic demands, goes by the wayside. And we talked about this, it could have been the case now, and we'll see hindsight 2020, where the Democrats' most effective time to really push for this was 2-3 weeks ago, right in the wake of the Alex Preddy shooting. And as time goes on, more people move on, and then headaches with the TSA might hurt that polling that I referenced, giving Democrats that edge on this issue.
Just to double back to our first topic, does this mean they're more likely to get a deal today?
Not today, because I don't think you're not going to get this 7 votes of Democrats right now on the House passed. Maybe on the CR 4 to 6 weeks, but I also doubt that too. And I give Thune a lot of credit for trying to navigate this. He's a pretty effective majority leader. And we'll see. But you got Catherine Cortez Masto, Jackie Rosen, others that are really dug in on this, that were part of the coalition of the willing back in the fall to reopen the government.
I think the Democrats have two choices. They can either take this as an olive branch and say, okay, let's get this done, or they can say, aha, blood in the water. They blinked. They're retreating. We've got them on the run. Let's keep pressing. And I think they'll do the latter.
Right. All right. Let's on the
environment. Let's not overestimate Democrats' ability to screw this up even when they've got polling on their side and
Yep.
national optics on their side.
They say that something that's easy is like a walk in the park. Well, easier than a walk in the park, hit the subscribe button, be part of the two-way community, never miss an episode, be part of our conversations. Thank you for your service to America.
And don't forget, you can now listen to the morning meeting and Two-Way Tonight on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.